Witness Sports.
Welcome to Double OT with Ruthie Polinsky. Flash those sweet shoes.
Oh, you can't see them in the shot.
Raise it. Ah, yeah.
Can you see them? They're cheetah.
Mazel tov on your new promotion.
Thank you.
What is your
New
title now?
I am the weekend sports anchor of WPRI Double OT. It's very bittersweet because I miss Mark Dondero more than anyone else.
He's going to be it's going to be much quieter here now.
I know. I got to work on my like blazing opinions and use my hands
Your
more.
hands crazily out of the shots.
Shake the head a little bit.
All right, so we're at a cool spot on the sports calendar. All four pro teams are kind of in the news right now. 3 of them playing, one with the draft coming up.
so
and
spoiled.
The Pats are always in the news.
True.
You were at the Bees yesterday. We start the Bruins. Playoffs tomorrow. You're going to be live there with the Maple Leafs.
Shameless plug.
Shameless
WPRI
plug.
Channel 12.
5, 6
5,
Sports,
6.
10 Sports Wrap. All right, what is you were there yesterday. How was the vibe? What is your prediction for the series?
The vibe was like, I mean, I think hockey fans in general get really excited for playoff hockey. I think it's like the hockey regular season's kind of long. It's like in the middle of like a bunch of different sports, like March Madness, you kind of like lose it. But like playoff hockey's like when everyone's locked in, and that's how I felt the guys were yesterday. Bruce Cassidy was like screaming on the ice, like at the players. It was kind of exciting to see because he's just like locked in, ready to go. Maple Leafs is kind of an interesting story, I think, because they lost 3 of their 4 games against the Maple Leafs during the regular season, which the guys were saying yesterday, like, you can't put stock in that at all.
Early in the year before the Bruins got good, yeah.
Yeah, early in the year, for sure. And there's also this cool history of the 2013 playoffs that Maple Leafs are supposedly building up. I think the Bruins are like, none of us were on that team for the most part. But the Maple Leafs are saying like they're in for revenge, like the fans want to like pay them back for that Game 7. So I think it's going to be a hyped up. I'm picking the Bruins in 7. I think it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Maple Leafs have a lot of speed. They're very quick. They have some young guys that can score. So similar to the Bruins, but I think it's going to be a good 7 games.
I'm going to pick Bruins in 6. I also think it'll be a good series. I think the Bruins, I'm not that worried about them struggling down the stretch. Joey Mack said with you yesterday, he thinks they can flip the switch. I agree with what he has to say. I think you can just get a vibe with some hockey teams. And maybe they come out and stink this series. Yeah. But I kind of just feel like this team has it. Yeah. I haven't felt that way about the Bruins going back the last several years. They haven't won a playoff series, I think, since 13-14. So it's been a while. They missed it a couple years. They got bounced in the first round last year from Ottawa. I think the combination of the veterans, Chara, Bergeron, Marchand, Backus, and then these young guys who are unafraid.
Like, there's a spark.
Yeah.
Donato. Exciting.
Whether or not he plays tomorrow, I don't know. But McAvoy and DeBrusk and these guys. So I feel good about the team right now. I think, say what you want about Tuukka, maybe not performing at his best in big games. I think they have an advantage at goaltender. And I think while Toronto is a harder team than, say, New Jersey that they'd have to play, I give the Bruins the advantage here.
I do too.
They're going to win in 6.
Like you said, like I think there's a spark about this team that it's exciting. They're going to lock in playoffs. They have something special in the locker room, I think, that's going to be working. And,
seeds, home ice advantage don't always matter. Everyone's bitter they didn't get the 1 seed, but you're going to have to beat these teams at some point, to get there.
For sure.
All right, Celtics. So they wrap things up as we tape this tonight against the Nets. They're the 2 seed, so as we tape this
on a Wednesday at 8:15,
it'll be Milwaukee, Miami, or who am I missing? Or Washington.
Who they lost to last night.
Expectations for Celtics now. We were talking in the office that pre-Kyrie Irving, there was an expectation and a hope that they'd get to the NBA Finals, or at least...
You mean Kyrie Irving injury, pre-Kyrie Irving injury.
Or get to the Eastern Conference Finals against LeBron and the Cavs, or once they became the 2 seed, maybe they see LeBron in the second round. But now that Irving's out, despite Horford, Tatum, and Brown, and everyone else, and Brad Stevens being such a great coach, it feels like the ceiling isn't where it needs to be. So we're like, they can win the first round, but then they're not going to win the second round. So it's kind of just deflated all the momentum that they regained after Gordon Hayward went down. We were like, all right, this team can still get to where we think they can. with Kyrie Irving, he goes down. And they've been locked in this 2 seed for so long, Ruthie, that there has been no buzz leading up to the playoffs.
Zero buzz.
Like the last week, someone tweeted out the ratings on Sunday. The Red Sox did a huge number. The Bruins did a good number. And like no one watched the Celtics on Sunday. And the Masters were on there, some other circumstances. But there's just a lack of buzz right now. In terms of matchups, this will be irrelevant by the end of the night. But my preference would be Milwaukee or Miami. I don't want to see Washington. They played them hard last year. But so what was the question? Expectation for Celtics now? I think they get to the second round, and that's probably where they go down. What do you think?
Expectations are different than like what I'm thinking. I think expectations are if you get to the second round, all right, you did what you could. You didn't have Kyrie. You know that you made it. You know, maybe where people expected you to go. I worry about them getting past the first round. I don't think they have.
It'll be won't be easy.
Playoff basketball is a different story, and this team and the guys that are coming into this roster, like randomly, are so young and inexperienced that that worries me. So I don't know if they can get out of the first round, but they should be expected to get to the second round and put up a fight in the second round.
And it's almost too bad because like every year they're building. Last year they get to the Eastern Conference Finals. This year we think they're at least going to get back there, and now they take a step back. And they can't control it because it's through injuries. But
yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer if anything else. Like,
it's a bummer.
There's so much hype around the Celtics like early in the season, and this just goes to show you like sports, like hashtag sports. Like you talk about, you get excited about these teams, like they're going to the finals, like Kyrie, LeBron, like Eastern Conference Finals. Now it's just like old news.
It's the equivalent of being an NFL playoff team and the quarterback gets hurt.
And you funny bone.
You're right. It's like the year Raiders, Derek Carr just went down, and it's all of a sudden like you're like, all right, we're it. That's it.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
All right, Sox-Yanks, game 2 of the series ongoing.
Underway.
As we tape this, David Price got tagged, potentially leaving with an injury.
They
rolled yesterday, 14-1.
That was a joke. Have you ever? When was the last time you saw a game like that, a baseball game like that? That was just such a freaking blowout and so hyped up. Like this is a rivalry game.
And I will say this, and this has been a concern of mine for the last couple of years. We talked about it a lot last year with Don Darrow. Is this rivalry not being where it used to be? And I think it has great buzz right now.
Yeah.
I think Stanton going to the Yankees and JD Martinez, that adds a lot of hype to it. Both first-year managers. Let's see how that plays out. And I think nationwide people are getting behind the Yankees like they used to in terms of just fan interest with Stanton and Judge.
Right.
So I think the rivalry's at a good place. Early reactions, I'm surprised the Red Sox are 9-1. I didn't think they'd be 9-1.
First time in franchise history.
Yeah, unbelievable start.
Unreal.
Now Marlins and Rays stink. So how big of a feather is it in their cap? They looked good against the Yankees in Game 1, but I thought the Yankees would win the division at the beginning of the year. I'm now thinking the Red Sox will, because the offense, I think, is going to be better than we thought. Because Betts is showing some pop. Xander was hitting great before he went down.
He'll be back.
I think Sale is going to be the ace that he was. So.
Yeah, I'm concerned about what is happening at this current moment with David Price, because he was kind of a key for me as to like how this season was going to play out. Like, can David Price be the number 2 that everyone needs him to be, like a really close number, you know, a 1A almost. So that'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Is this going to turn us into that dramatic, like, you know, kind of whining David Price that no one wants to see? So that'll be interesting. But the offense is, I think, surprising everyone. Hanley Ramirez being healthy has been
unbelievable.
Enormous.
And he's in a contract. He's one of those guys like, all right, now you're in a contract year, you slim down, TB12 diet, and you're great. Can't you just always be like that?
I know. It's
like
unbelievable.
So frustrating.
It's crazy. But like you were saying with Stanton and Judge, that gives not only the Yankees, like, some heroes, but it gives the Red Sox some villains.
Yeah.
So it kind of creates this like story, fairy tale, like
there was no one to like, and Stanton isn't like as hateable as A-Rod used to be.
Right.
Like he's not a POS, for the lack of a better term, for which I think A-Rod used to be. I don't know if he still is. Maybe J-Lo turned him around. But like Barstool's already putting out shirts with like Stanton with all the K's on it. Like you need someone to root against.
Right.
and the Yankees used to have a lot of those players. Last year, they were like, all right, Judge seems like a likable guy. Like, you know.
Right. And he was a rookie. It was like a fun story
and
to
I think
follow.
Yankee
You're happy
fans,
for him.
yeah, are early on a little worried about Aaron Boone as their manager. I know Montecalvo is Yanks fans, a little worried.
He's
I mean, he
worried.
was plucked out of the booth. He never had any experience. At least Alex Cora was a bench coach on a World Series team.
Had been in Boston before.
Yeah.
Also, with the Yankees, in terms of Stanton kind of sucking, at this moment in time, it's going to be interesting to see if he can adjust, because I think this is definitely, you're playing on the East Coast, you're playing in New York and Boston, where you're going to get
booed at home.
You're going to get booed at home.
He's going to hit 1 million home runs and 1 million strikeouts. That's kind of what he is.
Yeah.
He has more
would like
strikeouts at
more
this
home
point
runs
than Joe DiMaggio had in the entire 1941 season.
Yeah, that's pathetic.
It's a bonkers stat.
I wish Mark was here, because I'm just picturing him right now. It's pathetic. It's pathetic.
What do you think about the helmet that's been coming around like that he rocks now? The protective helmet.
I kind of like it. I'm a neurosurgeon's daughter, so I'm all
You're
about the head protection.
Head protection. Giselle was on, I guess, spoke to the Wall Street Journal and now says she won't make Tom retire, but he's the father of my kids. And
yeah, well, different story than last offseason when she was like, yeah, he was concussed the whole time. He was concussed the whole time.
She gets him in trouble a lot with what she says. All right,
it could be the
our
language
final
barrier.
topic, Patriots. We haven't talked in a couple
good
weeks.
segue
so
there.
General,
Seamless segue.
Uncertainty regarding. So Jeff Howe had a story. Tom Brady has 2 years left on his contract. 4 of the last 5 times that was the case. You know, they're never going to go into a final year of a deal with Brady. So they, at 2 years out, usually extend him. They haven't done that. Is that because Brady doesn't want it? Have the Patriots asked? We don't know. Robert Kraft says he's not concerned. And then you have Rob Gronkowski. Is he coming? We don't know. He's kind of been spotted around the area. Kraft also said he expects him to be back. We'll hear from Bill Friday, pre-draft. I'm sure everyone will ask him questions about the other stuff that he'll ignore.
Right.
But as the team is beginning voluntary workouts on Monday, everyone will be leaking reports. So-and-so was here, so-and-so wasn't there. What is your current status with the off-season uncertainty?
Well, I still consider myself a little bit new to Boston sports talk. So I haven't been able to draw the line as to like when people are just being like Boston
dramatic
critics, you know, they're saying, you know, Tom at the end of Tom vs. Time saying, you know, you have to have that conviction, and when you lose that conviction, what are you doing this for? And
which contradicts the beginning of a series when he's
100%.
like, are you willing to give up your life for this?
100%.
And now he's like, am I willing to give up my life for this?
Right.
All that changed in 9 months?
Right. I don't know, like, if that's, like, I don't know if that's what he meant at the end. I think he's saying, like, that's going to be the question down the road that I'm going to be asking myself.
Do I still want to do it?
I don't know. Like, I just feel like this is getting so talked about. Anyway, so the fact that Robert Kraft and Tom Brady haven't spoken about his contract in the offseason, especially after Tom versus Time, when this got, I get criticized all the time for saying versus, not verse. I think it might be a Midwest thing.
It's
I don't know.
versus.
Versus.
You say
I
verse.
always say verse. I don't know.
Which I'm fine with.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got a mean email once, didn't you?
No,
Or a call?
a tweet. Someone called me on Twitter like it's versus. I'm like, okay. So Tom versus Time, when he makes that statement at the end of the series, when he's like, what am I doing this for, or whatever, why didn't Robert Kraft pick up the phone or walk down the street? They're neighbors, aren't they?
Brookline.
Yeah. They walk down the street and say, hey, Tom, let's chat. What are you, what did that mean?
Maybe some of it is Tom is like, hey, I'm done taking pay cuts here.
Sure.
And usually they finagle his number against the cap, so it's more team friendly.
So bottom line is I think it's strange, not necessarily concerning, but I think it's a storyline that Kraft was referencing that Tom versus Time episode in that article with Jeff Howe, when you guys are supposed to be friends. Like, that was so long ago.
And
Why
he's
are
like,
you
I think it was a good look into his life and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I thought that was strange. I felt like that was a little bit of the elephant in the room. Like, why haven't you talked to Tom since?
The offseason has almost been bad. Because, like, all right, get away, clear your head. But as the speculation in the media just continues to swirl, it's almost like everyone needs to go back to work and be back in the natural environment. And then, like, maybe Tom bumps into Bill or Robert.
Right.
Hey, let's meet tomorrow. Let's chat over some things.
Right.
Whereas in the offseason, maybe it's like Tom reaches out to Kraft or vice versa. Hey, I'm busy, I'm on the West Coast, blah, blah, blah. And it kind of just never gets done.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to the Seth Wickersham ESPN story, there's certainly some truth to all of this dysfunction. That has been reported on. Belichick undressing Gronk early last year for the TB12 stuff. I think Guerrero is still at the core of a lot of these issues.
Sure.
But how has it been solved? If Tom still has to leave the facility or Gronk to go to Guerrero, has anything really changed?
Right. How about Jules
We saw
posting
Edelman there today calling him Mr.
bizarre.
Miyagi. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, Bill is certainly a stubborn guy. He's gonna be like, hey, draw a line in the sand. Like, it is what it is. The issue is, though, Tom Brady has always been part of the reason why the Patriot way works is because Belichick undresses Tom, and then the guy, 53 third man on the roster, says, Tom Brady, the greatest ever, is getting yelled at. I better get my stuff together.
Right.
So if Brady's not willing to get that, he and Gronk are both saying enjoying the process. It was a tough year. Then your program, the whole thing kind of falls.
The concept
right?
collapses.
So I think they have to get back to work, hopefully work some things out. But
Soon.
I expect Tom, Bill, Gronk, everyone to be there this year. 2019 seems like the big fork in the road right now.
I agree with you.
2 more years, and is Brady here after that? Maybe not. He isn't as adamant about playing a 45 as he once was.
Yeah, that's definitely in clear writing. The writing on the wall is that Tom Brady is no longer he's at the plateau of his career. Like, he's not necessarily on the downcline. Do you like my hands? He's not necessarily on the downcline.
By the way, you said plateau instead of plateau.
Plateau. You're like joining all my Twitter haters. So he's always been on this year I would say he was on his plateau.
Did he go down a tick like I projected?
No.
I think he did.
He threw for 500 yards in the Super Bowl.
That doesn't matter. His body of work, he was down a tick last year, despite winning the MVP.
He also had a worse offensive line. So he was getting hit.
I said last year that he would go down a tick, and you mocked me.
He won the MVP.
I know, but that was kind of by default. He's had better years.
This is by default. No, he's a tick. No, we just were mimicking you how you said a tick.
A tick, yeah.
In terms of Gronk, we didn't really talk about Gronk's uncertainty. I think that's getting blown up. It would be crazy. I was just thinking about this as you were talking. What if he pulled like a Rob Ninkovich and just
We
training
get an
camp,
email from Stacey.
training
Head,
camp,
press conference tomorrow. 11
emergency
a.m.
press conference. Like, Gronk's not at training camp for like 3 days, and everyone's like, and then he just retires.
We'll know
He's
more
not going
Monday because it's the voluntary day. That's not voluntary. Everyone has to be there, and then OTAs, mini camp.
How funny is that, the voluntary workouts? Whereas like Bill Belichick made everyone come in the blizzard, in the bomb cyclone. Like, there's no voluntary.
Also, there's a lot of things you can learn early in May, June, July that translate to later in the year. Like,
what would you say we
Malcolm
learned?
Butler was doghouse. Was it not this past year, the year before? He wasn't at the first couple days.
Yeah.
That started turmoil. Gronk wasn't himself last year in training camp because he was new to the TB12 method, so he was adjusting to his new body. A lot of things you figure out.
Yeah.
But then there's the year everyone was like, Jimmy G doesn't look good, and then he
was awesome.
got traded and was great.
That's the one thing that's concerning is like, Tom, you're talking about your conviction and what you're doing this for. This is all after they traded Jimmy Garoppolo. I just had to bring that in. Like,
looking back, drafting Garoppolo was the greatest motivator that Brady had since being a 6th-round pick.
Sure.
I mean, his numbers were going down pre-14. They draft Garoppolo, and they started to go up. And now, are they going to draft a quarterback? I don't know if he'd be as threatened by, depending on who they get, but I think he would understand at this point, at 41, you getting a quarterback, I kind of get.
Right. You don't think so?
But at 37, he was like, hey, I still got some left
or
in the
even,
tank.
according to the Seth Wickersham article, it was even at 40, he was like, you got to get rid of Jimmy.
Yeah. All right. Always
so
drama
scary.
with the Pats.
So much drama. It's a year-long story. Like, football's literally just a 12-month
football
year.
moves the needle too, so people like hearing and talking about it year-round.
100%. Especially
it's become
the
a year-round
Patriots.
I mean, the Super Bowl's in February. March is free agency. April's draft. May OTAs. June minicamp. July training camp. August preseason. September on and on. There's no end.
Preseason schedule, you hype?
Redskins, Eagles. No, I don't take a lot.
Eagles
away
is
from
kind of
preseason.
fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun. It'll be weird seeing actually.
Is it going to be Brian
You'll
Hoyer?
probably see Foles because Wentz the starter. Well, you see both of them.
Right.
You'll see some Brady, and that's the second game.
The second
Week
game,
one,
right.
you won't see a lot.
Redskins, we get to see the fighting Alex Smiths.
Fighting Alex Smith. And then
So weird.
at Carolina, at New York, the last game versus the Giants is always garbage. I guess they're releasing the season schedule next week. My guess is, so they didn't win the Super Bowl, so they won't play Thursday. They're going to be that Sunday nighter to start the game. Which was the year Brady was suspended. They started at Arizona in that slot, and Jimmy G won that game.
Oh, yeah,
that was
yeah,
nuts. They were 7-point underdogs in that game.
That's crazy.
Because everyone's like Jimmy Garoppolo. We don't know.
Who's that?
Yeah. So that's my guess. I don't know who they'd play. Someone said Houston, maybe.
Wow.
Watson back.
Watson and JJ.
JJ.
They've become
Good matchup.
boys. They're like torn ACL
Oh yeah.
buddies. I see it on Instagram.
All right, well, that'll do it for the latest episode of Double OT. Catch it on WPRI.com. On iTunes, we're going to have to switch the banner because it's
You
Mark
and
and
Mark.
I.
Are we going to
we'll
get a new
get you-
drawing of me? It's kind of a sketchy drawing.
Yeah, look
Should we
out
have a
by
photo
now.
shoot?
Talk to Lee about it. We've got a lot going on with Lacana right now. All right, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.